I think the best moment in this game was one of the best moments, anyways, was Milan Lucic scoring in front of the home crowd in the second period.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment on that earlier, but glad you brought it back up again.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure Vancouver fans love that because I don't remember. It might have been during the finals or it might have been after, before. I'm not sure, but excuse me. Like I think it was. I remember hearing a story about him picking fights with a guy at a bar, just a random Vancouver bar.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, this guy's kind of a dick. He's from Vancouver, but
Former Vancouver Giant.
well, that's my point. There you go. So,
Yeah.
he wasn't legal at the time. He couldn't go out and drink and stuff, but he probably did anyways. But fact is, Vancouver fans, I'm sure, loved that, and I think he gave like a big fist bump, Selly, to the crowd, and good for him. And big goal for the Bruins at the time. They need that was the first goal of the series, right? Wasn't it?
That was the first goal of the series, Game 2, second period.
Good for him, and fitting he does it on Vancouver ice.
So, I kind of want to have this kind of in-depth conversation about Lucic a little bit,
Sure.
because I like at the time, like I like Lucic and what he did at the time, like who he was as a player. Like he peaked with Boston. He had 60 points, I think, a couple seasons with the Bruins.
Yeah.
I think he had his place in the game. Like I think there was the need for somebody like a Milan Lucic, even though he wasn't the most talented player, and the game was going away from his kind of skills, and what he did. Like was never that great of a skater. Never totally felt comfortable shooting the puck. You can say this about him now, but were you a Milan Lucic guy? Did you like Lucic, and did you think he was a good player at the time?
There were different players I liked on the Bruins more than him.
Okay.
Bergeron, Krejci, Horton, Savard, Seidenberg. I could keep going for days, but Bergeron and Krejci were two guys that I kind of looked up to on the Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, I didn't really like the Bruins, to be honest. Even before the Canucks series, Lucic has always played with an edge. I like Marchand now. He's settled down. He plays with more skill, but he still plays with that bit of grit. Man, cut to Marchand's hands. He's nasty. I'm not a big Lucic guy, to be honest. He's just slow and like lethargic, and
it's quite noticeable in this series how slow and lethargic and Bambi he is out on the ice.
Absolutely. Again, effective player, and don't get me wrong, he's got a place in the game, and put him with Horton and Krejci, who he's with, two faster guys. Great, third piece to that line. I'm not really a fan of him myself, to be honest.
I thought he made sense in Boston for what they wanted to do and how they like to play.
Absolutely.
It kind of made sense in LA, but it was kind of also when it was a bad mix at the time with him going to LA, because the team was obviously deteriorating and getting worse and falling off. He was also falling off. Yeah. So they kind of just fell off together.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And then
he plays an old school game in a new school sport. And that's the thing, is that he needs to work on his foot speed, and he just simply never did. He's no faster than he was 10 years ago, in my opinion.
No, and I mean, they tried to make it work in Edmonton, and it just didn't. Yeah. Like it just like that is kind of just who Milan Lucic is. That's right. Like you know what you're getting when you get Milan Lucic, and
for sure, yeah.
And it was never really gonna work. I think like they were hoping, or like they thought in Edmonton, and even in Calgary, he's fine in Calgary. Probably shouldn't be a top 6 player. Probably
he's not.
No, and probably was a mistake to trade James Neal for him, but I mean, I think that's just kind of who he is, and I like him. I think I still kind of have a bit of stock in Milan Lucic just as like what he can be, and if you pay him he's not a $3 or $4 million player. He's like a $1 or $2 million player, kind of with how today's NHL is.
Yeah.
Like if you put him 20, 30 years ago and plop him into the NHL today, I think he's an extremely talented player. And
he's like a Darren McCartney.
Hot commodity, essentially.
Oh, for sure.
And it's just,
I'm with you there.
It's just born a little too late.
I'd agree with that. one thing I have going for him is that he's number 17, and as you can tell, that's my number right there. So yeah, I
That's
was
it.
for that.
That's his one saving grace for you.
It's one saving grace for me. It's not. That's why I don't hate his guts. I like. Yeah. No, he's again. Like I said, he's an effective player, and he's good at what he does. I'm just not the biggest fan of him.